Thanks for watching. A couple of weeks ago, I did a shootout between some of the most sold trail trucks at that point in time. So that went between the Traxxas TRX-4, the HPI Venture, the Vaterra Ascender, the Axial SCX102 version 2, and a lot of people in the comments have actually asked me to also check out one of these. This is, well, it's not like all new anymore because it's been on the market for a couple of months. This is the RedCat Everest Gen 7. This is the Pro edition. They also have a Sport edition. The Sport, I think in itself, is pretty unique. Just because it's the only truck I think at the moment that will allow you to get into 10 scale trail trucking or 10 scale crawling for right under 200 bucks. This one, the Pro, is like the more decked out version of the Sport. There's a number of differences. I will go over those. I hope I won't miss any of them. And the Pro retails for, I believe, $279. So this is very much budget friendly. You can see on the box, this is like a generic looking body. There's no licensing going on. It does come with in Turco Super Swamper tires, so that is licensed. Overall, I think, well, especially if you look at the box, it looks like a good looking truck. Comes very complete actually, so there's a ton of accessories. We will go over all of that once we actually have a look at the truck. And if you look at the specs as well, it is pretty impressive. Now, who would this truck be for? Because I mean, a lot of the guys, including myself, if we get a trail truck, we fully customize it. But I can imagine that there's a lot of people who just want to have a truck that they maybe take out once in a while. And they don't want to go completely bananas on like customizing bodies, wheels, tires, you know, all of that stuff, axles, maybe transmissions somewhere down the road. So they just want something that like looks trick and that looks very complete as well right out of the box. And this might actually be the ticket. Now, if you see that it has such a friendly price tag, it is pretty hard to deny that this is going to conquer a section of the market. And especially, you know, 200 bucks entry is well, it's really cheap. I've already taken the truck out of the box just to have a look at it, and I must say that I was really impressed, you know, at first glance, just going over it, seeing how complete it comes. And it's really not me bullshitting you. The truck weighs like a ton, and I mean, that's good and it's bad, but it weighs a ton. It feels like it's a quality product, and well, in this case, you know, it is a really, I think, a pretty original design. They did take a cue also from the aftermarket, so it comes with this Bpc Custom Chassis. I think they drew this up, or at least they helped develop this these chassis rails. So this is a steel chassis, 3mm steel ladder frame. You can adjust the wheelbase on it. Now, Bpc, in case you don't know, they also make SCX10 chassis, like a performance chassis. They've been around for quite a while. I have one of their battery cradles that I'm going to mount in my HPI Venture. So pretty funny to see it like come all together. It comes with a crawler ESC brush 550 motor. Not sure how many turns it is, but I guess we will perhaps find that out. CVD front axles, metal gears. So that's something that's different from, I believe, the Sport. I believe the Sport comes with plastic gears. Now, saying that it comes with metal is of course cool. Let's put the box aside. I will show you all of the boring shit as well, and some of the stuff that I won't be using, but that way you at least know what to expect when you get one of these perhaps. Comes with a Trickle Charger. This is one of the items that I will throw away, but if you are completely new to the hobby, having a Trickle Charger to at least get you up and running is of course a handy thing. One of the first things that I recommend upgrading the minute you do get into electric RC is your charger, because it's no fun to wait around for 4 or 6 hours just for your batteries to get charged. It comes with this radio. This looks pretty familiar. I think I got like a similar type of radio with one of my Thunder Tiger vehicles. So this actually has like a flip up lid, if it will cooperate. So you got your reverse switches, steering, throttle trim, jubel rate, and your on-off switch. This is only a 2-channel radio in case you do want to run winches, lights, all of that stuff. there are other radio options, but to see that it comes with this is not like a bad radio. I'm not hating on it at all. It takes 4 AA batteries. Those are not included, so do keep that in mind. You do need to pick some of those up before you're actually up and running. Well, manual comes with some spare parts as well. I got no idea what those are for. I can imagine that those are perhaps to mount like a different body or whatnot, because especially this Pro version is really specific. Haven't looked into this. I will read up a tiny bit, see if I can find something out that I haven't already figured out. It comes with this leaflet. Shows you that there's like different types of batteries. There is a nickel metal hydride battery included. I've been hating on that in the past, that it still was like nickel metal hydride, but that all has to do with like shipping regulations for lipos and whatnot. It's becoming increasingly strict to ship lipos and what you can do with those, and with nickel metal hydride nobody seems to really care. Here you can also see some of those upgraded chargers. These are then, I think, RedCat, like sister brand, Hexfly. I've never heard of it, but by the looks of it, it looks pretty cool. So that's some stuff for you to read up as well. Bunch of stickers. Now I think these are especially really interesting. It's like a wood grain pattern like you would find in what was it, like the late 70s, early 80s, that people would like trick their trucks out with. And well, they got all those wood grain patterns as well with this truck, so you can actually customize it a tiny bit, make it look a bit different. Then in addition, you could choose white or red, and then there's these Bpc stickers to indicate that it has actually like a custom designed chassis, some in turquoise stickers and whatnot. Now that we get all of that out of the way, let's have a look at the truck itself. I think it looks good for like a generic body. This is not anything that's licensed again, so that just sort of like made this up. I think they did a good job on designing something that looks very acceptable. I think it looks pretty cool. It's like I don't know, like a kind of like a Jeep inspired perhaps, as like a bit of a Hummer maybe perhaps even to it. And well, overall, I'm not disliking the shape of it at all. There's a ton of differences between the exterior of the Sport and this version, the Pro. One of them is, for example, these D-links. Now, although they're not like super functional, they do add a lot to the look of the truck. You get them in the front and in the back, and you do not find them on the Sport. You do find them on the Pro edition. Same goes for the Snorkel. You find it on the Pro, not on the Sport. I believe the mirrors are something that doesn't come on the Sport either. These are actually pretty cool, so they fold in. So in case you're like rock rashing it and it would usually perhaps break off, these just sort of like collapse in on themselves. And you could just fold them out and you're good to go again. Comes with this big roof rack with a bunch of accessories already sort of like pre-mounted to it. So you got like a faux light bar in the front. I do believe you can also use this location to mount an actual light bar if you want to do that. These sand ladders, some tools. Now these tools, you can actually move them to the back because there's an additional clamp down section over there. These jerry cans, and then you got like a fully functioning spare wheel as well. Now that does mean that this thing is really top heavy. If you pick it up, it's one of the heaviest ready to run trucks that I've ever seen. It's almost in line with a Traxxas TRX-4. The Sport does not come with any of this stuff. So again, you know, keep that in mind. Something that makes the body really heavy as well, and this is a ton of stuff to go over, are these fender flares. These are solid plastic, so that adds a lot of weight to the body. Then it has inner fenders. Those are actually bolted onto the chassis. And when you open up the body, this works differently than it would work on the Sport, because this is actually Velcro down. So there's like a base plate in the front mounted to the shock tower with a piece of Velcro to it, a piece of Velcro in the back as well, and this tilts up. And once you tilt it up, you can see that there's an entire roll cage on the inside, which I think is really cool. So that's a cool piece. I've not seen that before, and not as elaborate as this. And then it comes with a tiny rod. You can put that in the back. There's a strut between the rear shocks and between the chassis rails. And You can put that out like that. That will make sure that you're not going to lose your fingers with the body falling down or whatnot. I think the body looks really good. The paint on it is a tiny bit on the thin side, so if I look at it like this, like towards my lamp, you can see that it's kind of transparent. I do wish that they had let those windows, that they left those unpainted, but unfortunately they didn't do that. Not too big of a deal though. It's still a pretty good looking truck. Axles, pretty big pumpkins. If you're familiar with the Generation 1 SCX10, then this will look kind of familiar. None of the parts are interchangeable though, but it's very reminiscent of those early generation SCX10 trucks. The Pro comes with a couple of metal skid plates underneath the pumpkins. I think that those will get you hung up more than that they would actually help you slide over the rocks. These do not come on the Sport. I think I will actually be taking these off. It is thoughtful of them to include it, but I for one do not really care for them. You got CVDs in the front. I'm not sure if you get CVDs on the Sport version. I can imagine that that would perhaps be regular dog bones. Servo is mounted on top of the axle, so again like the first generation SCX10. And then you have those Bpc chassis rails, sort of like connecting to those shocks and then going backwards. And that's where I think all of the interesting stuff happens. So you see a battery layout where they, in this case, then position that nickel metal hydride battery. A battery layout that we've seen in like custom setups on an SCX10. People really liked to put their battery right behind those front wheels. So you find that right out of the box over there. This is a 3000 milliamp nickel metal hydride. If you buy the Sport, you only get a 2000 milliamp. Again, cool that it's included. I won't be running it, but if you're completely new to the hobby, then this will make sure that you can actually go out and run your truck immediately. Inner fenders, they look really good. Plastic quality of them is very okay actually. Same goes for the bumper. It's perhaps a tiny bit thin. But the finish quality of it looks really good to me. You get this elevated platform on which you find a rebranded Hobbywing ESC. This is a waterproof ESC. It's really easy to set up. You got basically two tiny plugs. So you can set it up between a LiPo or nickel metal hydride. Right out of the box, of course, it's set up as a nickel metal hydride. I'm going to set it up for LiPo. I'm also going to set it up for 3-cell use instead of 2-cell use. It has 3 different drag brake settings, and this is the exact same ESC that you would find, for example, in an Axial SCX10 version 2, in some of the brushed Arma cars. So this is basically an Axial AE5. In case you're familiar with those, then well, that's what you can expect. Receiver sits on the same platform, tiny bit elevated. Not too keen on this exposed antenna wire, but I'm pretty sure that I can tuck that away somewhere in order for it to stay undamaged. I'm still not sure on the turn count on that motor, because it really doesn't say. It just says that it's a 550 can, but I'm quite sure that I can figure that out once I start reading the booklet. The spur and the pinion is exposed, so well, there as well you kind of risk that antenna sort of like disappearing in your gears. So you do want to make sure that you actually sort of like strap this down somewhere. With this whole elevated platform and the way that it's set up, it does make that you don't really have any room, not even for a 2D interior. So in case you want to put an interior in there to leave your windows clear, you need to relocate at least the ESC and the receiver to some different spot inside that chassis. I would like to see them a tiny bit lower, so perhaps I will make something in the back against those rear shock towers, to put it like that, to bring the weight down a tiny bit as well. Well, rear axle pretty much the same as the front axle, but of course without the CVDs. The drive shafts, the spline on them looks a tiny bit fragile, to put it like that. The yokes look pretty good, and I think looking at the way that they hook up, I think you can actually replace these with some axial wild bore shafts. In case you do break these at some point. Not too big of a deal. Seems to be stainless steel high clearance links. So everything is already bent to give you the maximum amount of clearance. So that's pretty cool as well. And the only thing that I well, kind of can complain about, like right out of the box, is the way that the shocks are set up. I think that they're really stiff. These are aluminum bodied shocks. They're threaded bodies, aluminum top caps, aluminum rings. So they're fully adjustable. But in my opinion, they're just a tiny bit too stiff. Now I'm not sure if that's the spring rate or the shock oil. Either way, it's pretty easy to tune that. Empty it out, give them a once over, and see if I can make them perform to my liking. It is cool that it's aluminum bodied, and the shock shafts on them are pretty thick actually. There's a big difference between the foams in these wheels and the wheels that you would, or the tires that you would get on the Sport. The tires themselves, they're exactly the same. So on both trucks you get the Turco Super Swampers. On the Pro you get closed cell foams, and on the Sport you would get open cell foams, so like the regular foams that completely disintegrate. Beadlock wheels, well, whether you like the look of them or not, that can be debated, but it is pretty easy to take out these screws, take the beads off, and remove the tires, put them on a rim of your liking in case you want to go that route. I think for the money, especially seeing that it comes with like an internal roll cage, inner fenders, you know, fender flares, like the roof rack, spare wheels, license tires. It's a lot of value for money. I absolutely am impressed by what they managed to put out on the market for that price tag. Now, whether you like it or not, or whether it's up your alley or not, well, you know, that's like a whole different thing. I'm gonna give it a fair chance. Going to have some fun with it once I give those shocks a bit of a tune, and once I set that ESC up to my liking. If you have any questions, if you have one of these, maybe you ran into some issues, and maybe I got like a few facts wrong. If you have one of these and I've overlooked something, let me know in the comment section. If you have any questions, want me to look into something for you and answer it, also leave me a comment in the comment section. I'm going to have fun with this thing. If you want to be ahead of what I'm doing over here, Facebook, Instagram, links are in the video description. More information about the RedCat Everest Gen 7 Pro, but also the Sport, I will also put that in the video description, so you can check out RedCat's website, see some more in detail information, some of the stuff that I perhaps missed. If you have not subscribed yet, please do. It's free. I will see you in the next one. Take care. Bye bye. We're back on.